A very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. All right, we have waited for a few minutes to everyone to join and continue. So, um, first thing first, so just quickly recall what we have discussed in last session. Okay. One thing we were discussing is the roles and responsibilities. So when we talk about the role of a DevOps engineer, so it is all about, so we have seen it is circling around a server, right? So this particular server is the place where it is actually circling our roles and responsibilities. So we take the application from the developer. Okay, so the developer will continuously try to keep the application on this particular server, and these servers are continuously accessed by the users as well. So they'll try to access the users. So now the developer is actually trying to push to the server and users are actually accessing the servers. The servers plays a critical role in your role, by the way. So your role actually, is majorly focused on server, and end of the day, a compute will run on a server. Now that is where we need to understand this server operating system. So we decided to go with the Linux. We have already understood some data points around Linux, and in Linux also we have different vendors. So we ended with Red Hat Enterprise Linux, RHEL, and exclusively 9 version we talked about. Anything I think 8, 9, 10 doesn't matter to us much, by the way. So most of the things are quite same. So until here we have discussed in yesterday's session, and after this, okay, so I need this Red Hat OS. Okay, so where to get it? I don't want to go within the desktop side. Okay, desktop, I don't want to install anything, by the way. So I wanted to take it into a cloud and do it in the cloud. Okay, why? Because in the real time, so you don't do the things in desktop, by the way. So suddenly tomorrow you face an interview or you join an organization, you should not see the difference between your lab environment versus the company environment. So most of the things should be in sync, by the way, as much as possible, at least. Okay, so that's where, so we decided to take the instance directly on the cloud. So we will go with the uh, so taking a cloud instance. So that's where I asked every one of you to sign up for AWS account. So AWS account sign up. I hope everyone have done that. If not, at least after the today's session, please go ahead and do that. And while you're doing this, you just need to make sure a couple of points. So one, you need to provide a valid card. Okay, but don't bother. They are not going to deduct anything automatically. It's going to be, you have to pay manually. Okay. And the second thing is, so we are going to take a no support kind of a thing. So that when you're actually asking for the sign up, so it will ask for support. You just choose no support. Okay. So that means like any technical help, you'll not need it, because if you're taking support, you need to pay upfront, by the way. So just go with this. So these are the only two things you consider, which is already mentioned in the links which is given to you, right? So today, let's try to talk about how do we access sorry, how do you create a Linux or a server inside Amazon, and how do you access it, right? So let's get it started. So you need to log into the AWS account, by the way. So here, we already provided you the link to log into the AWS account. So here is the place that you need to enter your email and password so that you'll be able to log into the system. Okay. And after login, okay, so you will see a page, something like this. Let me just put that. Let me just log in. All right. So I just logged in with my email and password. And here is what you will see, by the way. Okay. And there's a very common account which I use, like I mentioned. So there is a cost involved in utilizing this particular account. And here, if I, on the top, you will just drop down, you will have a billing dashboard. Okay. So what I would suggest is every day when you actually try to uh, um, every day when you join, you always go to the billing dashboard and take a billing overview. Okay, billing and cost management here, and every day you can just take a billing over here. So take a review of billing. So average, if you see, by the way, so you will not see more than generally $30, $40. But actually, this is something for it is used for some other purpose of I mean my personal purpose. Like we were trying out some LLMs hosting and all. We need to run for some time last month, so it just a couple of months back. So it just took some time or some amount, by the way. But usually, like if you are using general usage, like I mentioned. So if you are using for 3-4 hours of time, so it should usually will not cost not more than $30. All right, but make sure that you always come and always come here and make sure you always check the bill daily, by the way. All right, so that's what I would suggest every one of you. Now on that left side top, I'm clicking on AWS. So once you click on AWS, maybe for me it is showing you all the services because I usually use this, but it may be empty for you. But whenever you log in, okay, so Amazon offers different regions, by the way. Okay, AWS provides services globally. So it's not only like, let's say Amazon is a company from United States, it doesn't mean that they'll serve only the United States customers. So they actually have the business across the globe, right? And um, AWS actually, so each, now let's say while they're serving the customers globally, they host the data centers in different countries, by the way. So they have data centers, like let's say this is a map, and each and everything you see is every circle or dot, whatever you're seeing, is actually a data as a service they're offering, by the way. All right. And in this particular I mean, the circle, whatever you're seeing, that is called as a region in an Amazon language or Amazon terminology. So they call it as a region. Now, each region comprises of minimum 2 data centers. When Amazon is actually maintaining a region, they'll try to maintain 2 data centers. So why 2 data centers? Just for availability purpose. Okay. Now, Amazon offers in different regions, that means different countries, different geographical locations. Why they need to go for that? Why don't they keep it in single place? And why don't they serve in from a single place, by the way, right? So it is because of the low latency for the customers. For example, the person sitting, let's say in India, is actually using a data center services in in US. Actually, the data transfer between over to here, it literally need to cross the wire. Okay, it literally need to go over the wire all the way, and it should come here, right? So that is where the wire may be across the seas like this. Okay, so this is very critical, for user. I mean, this is very critical, by the way, because users may be, facing the latency, by the way. Okay, so that is where the length of the wire determines the latency. It's as simple as that. Okay, and okay, so lesser the wire, faster the response. It's as simple as that. Okay, and that is one reason you can consider. And also you have GDPRs in different GDPR policy of different countries, by the way. Okay, for an example, in US there is a GDPR policy. In UK there is a GDPR policy. In India there is a GDPR policy. Right. So in India, GDPR policy says that, okay, the data that belongs to India, you should not actually take out of India. Okay, that means like, so any personal identity information data, especially like you can talk like, Aadhaar card or PAN card, so some PII data, you can't actually take it out of the country. Okay, that is the simple GDPR policy. So, and Amazon has to follow that. So for that reason also, they have to come and set up the data centers regionally in here so that they can serve the customers. Okay, that is the idea. All right, so that is where Amazon has to come around different data centers. So that means on the right side top, if you look in, so where you want to use your services, so top down. So here is a place, different places that you have, and there are more as well. It's not showing here. These are top we can consider. Okay. Out of this, so one we are going to use is North Virginia. So the North Virginia is the region we are going to pick up for this particular training because of a couple of reasons. One reason is uh, you generally get the hardware better there. So that means a slight difference in the price. That means like you'll get lesser cost, little lesser cost, not too much to consider, but at least some lesser price while you are using it. And we're not even bothered about that also. We are majorly bothered about in other regions. Okay. So suddenly you're expecting some hardware. So we have seen scenarios that, you suddenly will not get the hardware. So, I mean, today I'm trying to create a cluster. Let's say, for an example, some Kubernetes cluster I'm using. There are many times, by the way. So, some small regions will say that we don't have capacity. Okay, so that is a bit a challenge. Okay, so that's the reason. Okay, so just to avoid all these permutations and combinations, so at least I have been picking up a region, so which is North Virginia region. North Virginia is a very big one. I think the recent impacted of Amazon, if any one of you know the news, that is North Virginia region only. Okay. Um, yeah, it's a very big one. It's a massive one. Okay. In a way that, so majority of the businesses has been went on halt. Just this region went down in Amazon. Okay. So, right. So that big massive it is. It has huge number of data centers. If I'm not wrong, it has at least like 15 16 data centers it is having. Okay, so in that region, so that big it is. Okay, but we don't bother about big and all. So we are going to get little reasonable cost. That is one reason. And the second major reason that I'm actually giving here is, so here there is one pre-built setup which is made, by the way, so which is something better for the training, so which will enhance your learning in a better way. So that image, see, every time you take a base image and put it right from the scratch, okay, set up the things, we don't want to waste the time, right? So anyhow, we'll do that. One day we'll do that. So you will have an understanding, but that doesn't mean that every day I have to do that, right? So some, so pre-standard things comes into the picture because you take a raw operating system. You have to consider doing so many things, by the way. Okay. So, but this is actually we consider certain things and we're already using it. And what we have done, we'll see in one day, we'll build up our own thing for the project. So that day you will understand. But just for time being, we'll be using the existing one. Okay. So that I am offering, which is actually available only in North Virginia region. So I'm going to use that. So for whatever the reasons it is, we are going to use North Virginia region, and the URL itself is cooked up with the North Virginia region. If you bookmark this and you use it, I think we are good. You directly use this particular URL, bookmark this, and whenever it will ask for the login, you just make sure you log in with your account, and you will be in the North Virginia region only. And why I'm actually cooking in the URL is because a lot of times people, okay, so when you actually directly use a direct URL this much, it always randomly picks up some region in here. And always suddenly, we have observed people that, so go ahead and create the resources, they forget to delete, and tomorrow they open it. At least if the same region coming in, they would recognize, okay, something is running. Some cases that it will switch the region and you end up forgetting it. Okay, so and end of the month you have to pay the bill. So you have to be very conscious around the bill end of the day, right? So we'll follow certain practices even to save the cost as well later. Okay, that's how it will be under less amount actually. Okay, so for now, so just stick with North Virginia region. Just make sure you bookmark this URL and you always stick to this region without a miss. And also just make sure you check the billing every day when you log in. Okay, suddenly just no surprises. Okay, so there are practices like I mean you stop the billing at certain things like that. You get reminders and things like that. but that's not going to add any value to you, by the way, because let's say today is November 4th, by the way. Now let's say you got a billing alert on November 10th. Now that means 20 days you'll not do anything. There's no value to that, right? So actually that is more reactive measure, which I will not prefer to do that. So whereas I want you to be a more proactive approach, so just make sure, okay, so you consciously do the things rather than let's say $30 you kept the cap, and you set a reminder and you got an email and you cross $30. That means still next day you have to practice, right? You can't stop it. So there's no point in that, okay, in that emails, by the way. But you may come to know. That's what I'm telling. Just go with the shift left approach. That means, like, every day you take a look by logging in whenever you are practicing. Just make sure that as a um I mean, whoever it is starting, at least you just start using it as a practice, so that the moment you open it by default, your subconscious will go and click on that. To that level, so you just make sure practice for some days and just make it as a habit. Okay, it's a good habit anyhow to save your cost. All right. So coming back, so this is what it is. We are going to choose the North Virginia region. Now let's launch a virtual machine. But before to that, any questions? And questions is still same. So if you have any question, please raise your hand. You'll have a raise hand button. So you just click on it. I'll come to you. Not able to hear you. Okay, moving on.
Is it better now?
Yeah, now it is audible.
Okay. So my question is, I know we discussed about the different data centers in different region. So for the disaster perspective, I know you discussed about North Virginia data center when it was down, it caused much of trouble. So disaster perspective, like AWS is taking any measures on in case if some of the region data centers down.
No, do you know what happened, by the way, the root cause?
No, I was totally,
That can't
met.
be solved with a disaster recovery.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a DNS problem.
Okay.
You don't have that. It's a mistake. It's a mistake happened. I think the DR can't solve that problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Any DNS, I think, not sure, yesterday or day before yesterday, I was talking about it, right? So any DNS issue or is the worst issues that you will face in the industry, in the organization. So crucial, by the way. And any mess up happened there, you are gone. Like any measures you take it's of useless.
Okay. But this recovery perspective, you said there are like even in the North Virginia, there are like 15 to 16 data centers, right? So if even one data center is down, the other will take care of the recovery. Is that how it works? Disaster perspective.
We have, I mean, that is our responsibility to design. It's not like Amazon. Amazon says it is a shared responsibility that they will not offer everything out of
Okay.
box, right? It's a shared responsibility. They'll offer certain things and you have to utilize certain things according to your needs. So the
Okay. It
DR, when
depends
you
on
talk
the.
about, they will have DR, by the way. The thing which happened is not actually can't be solved with the DR. Okay. So
Okay.
it is essentially the problem. Okay, the DNS you need to understand. Okay, it itself is a problem. You can't actually solve with that with the DR. But when we host the application, we have to think about the consequences of availability loss and all.
Okay. Sure. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi Raghu.
Yeah.
Okay, small doubt.
Yeah.
Since this machine image which you have created is in North Virginia, when we are launching that image, will it default take the North Virginia region, or we have to select the North Virginia region from our end?
We have to select North Virginia.
Oh, thank you.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sir, today is my first class. I didn't attend yesterday. I just wanted to know what is the total number of hours for our
Later we'll
training?
talk. Anything to the current topic, let's discuss. Otherwise, you have anything related to the training. Later we'll talk end of the session.
Okay.
Just utilize
Sorry.
the time better. Yeah, no problem. Okay.
Raghu, what do you recommend us to create a sub-user to use this Amazon console, or do you recommend us to use the root user when we do these exercises?
We'll talk about it later, but sub-users is not the industry standard practice.
Okay, so it's better to stick with the root user because
For
the
now,
billing
yes.
information and all will be only available in the root user. Got it.
As I mentioned, so sub-user is not a industry standard practice. So industry
Okay.
standard practice is something else. So we'll talk about it when we talk about Amazon things later. Yeah. So you can see this. This is my AWS portal, by the way. So which is you don't see this, right? So because mine is pre-set up as an industry standard. We'll also go there one day, but as of now, stick to the root
So
user.
for now, you just create a root user and just use the root user for the exercises. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Sorry, that was a mistake. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. No problem. All right. Not able to hear you, Navin. Okay, moving on. All right, so let's get on to the next one. So how do we create our AWS account? Okay, so sorry, how do we create a server in the AWS account? Now let's create let's create a server in Amazon. But when we actually go with the server, so we need to understand certain little concepts about so the server which we are creating. So yesterday we already talked about the servers will be so a physical servers that is called as a rack server, right? Now the rack server is a big server. Okay, where I shown you like it supports some 140 144 cores, and also it supports 1 terabyte of RAM. These are all big things, by the way. Now to run a small application, do I really need to take a big server? Okay, it's necessarily not needed. And also, let's say I want to buy a small server, but you just imagine that I'm running hundreds of microservices, hundreds of services, and those hundreds of services into environments, like later we'll see anyhow. Let's say there are 5 environments, into 5x will come. Okay, and in availability perspective, you need to maintain multiple machines for the same service. Into x it will come, right? So that much space you need to buy. It's not about it's not about the space. Okay, so there is enough land to keep the servers, but the problem is you need to maintain them with the appropriate temperature and things like that, right? So at least so it requires a lot of electricity, a lot of logistics problems are there. Okay, so keeping it cool and things like that. Okay, so it's very important as well. So that is the reason. Okay, so you need to have minimal servers, but still your services need not to be compromised. So that's where this problem is not new. It's again falls back to 20-30 years, I can say, like at least easily. Okay, so before I start my career itself, there was a well set up around it. Okay, so that was in the Unix world, and later in the Linux world also it started. So we generally call it as um, you know we generally call it as a virtual machine. Okay, you're going to get a virtual machine Okay, not a physical machine. That means what virtual machine will do is we'll take a physical machine. On top of that, we'll install an operating system and we'll install some software, and that will enable you to create a small pieces of the VMs, by the way. Okay, so we are going to have the not going to have the application on a physical machine. We are going to take a virtual machine, and that virtual machine we are going to install an operating system, and on top of that you run the application. Now there are other beneath advantages also. Now let's say if the physical machine is down for whatever the reason it is, the motherboard has been busted. Okay, so then the virtual machine automatically can be migrated to the next another physical server. Okay, since it is virtual, it is possible. Okay, so that's where now whenever we talk about so creating a server in Amazon, 99% it is going to be a virtual machine. But Amazon also offers a physical machine again. Okay, but it's too costly and we don't need it as well, right? So Amazon offers physical machines, but we don't go for that. Okay, at least so far in my career, I have not created uh, a physical machine request. Okay, so yeah, it's mostly not needed. Okay, like I mentioned, but there are there are companies who actually does that as well. Okay, so very few. Now it is going to be a virtual machine. So all right. So the machine, when we talk about, so I may use different words, by the way, but don't confuse by the words. I may use virtual machine. We may call it as VM. We may call it as server. Okay, we may call it as host. Okay, different words we may use, but all points to something which is a server. Okay, so different people in different scenarios, they talk about a different technology. Okay, that's fine. This is what we have. Now, to create a virtual machine, so you need to go ahead and, so go to the service EC2. So the Amazon have many services, by the way. So now if you drop down, by the way, there are many services. There are analytic services, there is application integration, there is, blockchain, business application, financial services, compute is there, container services, the databases are there. There are many services. Okay, so we don't require every service, in fact, right? So we will consume the services which are required for our application to host the web application. All right. So in a way that, there may be like, 250 plus services which are available in Amazon. So you don't need to be known of everything. Okay. You will definitely know what is needed for running your application, essentially, right? So in that particular context, so here in the compute part, you're going to have a EC2 service, which is available. And even in the dropdown, you can keep it as a star, by the way. So which you can go to the compute. So you can just use and keep it. How to get this? Let me. It is a star. Come to the ending. Yeah, you just click on this star automatically. Okay, it will come here a bar and it will put here. So you can keep it as per your understanding. Okay, I just kept these. These are the common services which we majorly use. All right, so I can click on EC2, and this is how the EC2 landing page will look like. Okay. All right. So now we're going to start creating a virtual machine. One second. Yeah. So here, you can, what is the document link? So you can go for a launch instance option. So here somewhere you'll click on, you'll see a launch instance option. You click on that. Okay. And after that, so choose an AMI, by the way. So use a custom training image. So you search for DevOps-practice. So here, choose browse more AMIs, and I'll prefer you to go to community AMI. Okay. And choose DevOps-practice. In recent days, Amazon actually something screwed up this search, by the way. I think there's some bug which is open as well. So it takes a longer time to, deal this. But there's an alternate way. Let me open EC2 on another tab. Let me go to the AMIs on the left side where you can search all the AMIs. So you are searching the public images. where you search for DevOps hyphen practice. Okay, a word search also taking time. Then I will narrow down the search in another way. Just at least let it give the result for once so that we can narrow down. Okay, fine. It came. It took very long time. Here it is still searching. At least that's what this comes bit early. Okay. Now this is the one that we are supposed to use it. So, and this AMI ID may change sometimes when we actually trying to fix some bugs, fix some security issues. This may change little over a period of time, maybe once in 2 months, 3 months. I'll try to do that. But whereas if we so hard code this AMI ID, it may be a bit problem. So let's try to deal this in a better way. So what I can do is this the owner ID. So I can give a search in such a way that so it's going to be owner is equal to this number. Okay, give a search. It is a faster search. When you search with the owner, it is going to be a faster search. So rather than doing all this, you see very, very slow, rather than waiting this much time, this has happened very recently only, like few couple of months only. They, so they screwed this search part. Okay. So yeah. Now I would suggest you to take this owner thing. Okay. And owner thing. And also after that, give this. So it will be search is much faster. Okay. So I would suggest you to take this URL and I will prefer to bookmark this also. Okay. So that whenever I wanted to create a server, I'll simply come to this, click on this. Okay. Directly come, right? So if I close this, if I open in a new tab, the search is super fast. This way we can save our time. All right. And if you click on this and you can launch instance from AMI from here. Okay. You can again get the same portal, but AMI is already selected. All right. So that's where I will put this URL in the document, by the way. For your reference. Okay. So this document is already there in the portal. If not, just take a look after the session. Okay. And yeah, coming to here. So we have this one. And after this, launch instance from this AMI. This is also another way of doing it. And to choose anything, so just click on launch instance. So it will ask for one option, which is called as create a key pair, which we don't need it. So we can just say that proceed without a key pair and launch the instance. Okay, view all instance. Now you're getting an instance and you're going to get an IP address here. So which we call it as a public IP address. What is a public IP? What is a private IP? You will see that maybe after a couple of sessions this week only, mostly after 3 sessions, you'll see that understanding, but you're going to get, a server IP address. Now what you need to do is you need to connect to that instance. If you are using MacBook or a Linux also, you have a terminal like me here. They'll simply use that particular terminal. Okay, so saying SSH, and you just take that particular IP address. Okay, and a login username, which is EC2-user. Okay, the username is this. That is also mentioned in the document. So the username is this. Now enter. It will ask for a password after it is up. So let's wait. The server is still coming up. You just need to wait for a minute. Only. Okay. So now it is gonna ask for the password. So in my case, it is a little to thing. Um, let me show you in another way. Okay. So here, as I such, this one login username is user. So usually it will ask for yes or no. You just type yes. Okay. And after that, it will ask for the password. What is the password? It is DevOps 321, capital D, capital O, and 321. When you're typing, it won't show that the password it is typing. You just need to type it properly and hit enter. You log into the Linux server. Whereas I mean, very few are here are Mac users, right? So, but whereas if you're a Windows guy, okay, then you download a software which is called as Putty. Okay, so you download the Putty. Okay, so here mostly you'll be using x86 hardware. You install this software, or else okay. So Kitty also you can try. Okay, so Kitty. Yes. So Kitty is also another sister kind of a thing to Putty. Okay, so both are from the same source code. It's your choice which one to use. Still, I suggest you can go for Putty as long as Putty doesn't have any issues. Okay, so you can click on download option and you can download as well. All right. So Putty Kitty, the UI look also is same actually images if you look in. So the Kitty client is also the same thing. This is a Kitty UI. Okay, whereas a Putty UI. Now the client is your choice. I don't intervene if you're already using some other client that you know. It's completely absolutely fine. I don't mind at all. But whoever is absolutely beginner that doesn't never used it, if you're in Windows, I will suggest you to go with the Putty software. It's a very small software. Again, it's clients. There is absolutely, I'll not interfere in your recommendations, whether you use Chrome, Firefox, something else, blah, blah, blah. It is your choice. I don't mind at all. Okay. So, but if you're a beginner, you can start with this software. There are better softwares than this. It's whenever you get some time, you can explore. If you are looking more features, things like the tabs and things like that. So you can still look for some of the tools. Okay, but to start with, this is the one. So when you download and open Putty, this is the prompt you will get it where you need to enter the IP address. So I go back. So I am not having Windows to demonstrate, by the way, but just you can give a try later. And any issues, lab sessions will be there. Okay, today we'll provide the links also to lab session. And yeah, so in the Putty configuration, you just need to copy the IP address here. So I entered an IP address on the command line here, right? So the same way you enter the IP address here, just click on open. First, you enter the IP. Second one, you click on this. And after that, even here for me, it is asking yes or no. So the same way, it will ask you to accept, by the way. So just you can click on accept. And it will ask for the username. You enter EC2-user as a username, and you enter the password. The password is DevOps321, but make sure when you're typing, it won't be visible to you on the screen. You are entering, and you hit enter, it will work. And then you're going to get the prompt. Once you actually get into the server, same like in Putty also, you'll see the same prompt. Mac also will see the same prompt. Just the way you connect is the only difference that you have. That's it. And we will be able to connect to the server. So just I'll try to demonstrate the server creation one more time. I will just go back here and I would like to terminate the instance. I created this instance. Let's say this instance is no more needed to me. I can go here, right click, terminate the instance so that you're deleting this instance. So terminate. Okay. So once again, how do I launch a VM? So I'll go here. So make sure you bookmark this. I'm opening this URL, right? So I'll click this, launch instance from an AMI. So you can just click on launch instance. So it is usually asking for an option of key pair. We don't want key pair, so just proceed without a key pair and just launch instance. And you wait for a minute and you get the instance. Very simple only. And once you are done with the work, so it is anyhow, the current one is in pending state coming up. The old one is shutting down. After that, it will terminate actually. You can refresh for the status as well. So now you can see this, it is terminated. So that means this machine is deleted. So there is also a stopped state. We'll talk about that bit later. But as of now, we need an instance. It's a running state. We don't need the instance. You terminate it. We don't need to keep the instances for now. Later, someday, we need to keep the instances, some instances. We'll talk about that. Okay. But don't bother for now. So you just need to launch instance. After you're done, you just terminate the instance. So we're not going to save anything on the systems that we need to bother. All right. So that's it. So we can go ahead like this. Clear? Any questions?
Hi.
Yeah.
So I have plenty of questions. My first question is, I know you mentioned about the physical machine, even though Amazon offers it. So what group of clients usually go for that physical machine? What is the benefit they get in when you go for physical machine?
So when you go for a direct VM, by the way, you will be in a shared hardware. Okay, so that means a VM that you are getting in the same physical machine, some other XYZ customer also will get the same machine. Okay, but there are certain customers who are more specific to the data DPL kind of a thing, data leakage things. Okay, anticipate can happen. Okay, they want to be more secure that their hardware they don't want to be shared, by the way. So such kind of a people, they go for a physical machine, and they will allow you to where you will can create your own virtual machines on your own specific physical hardware.
Okay.
Yeah. So though actually I work in the financial institutions, but I never seen a necessary need of to going there, because even though it is a virtual machine, you have enough trust on Amazon that they can't take your data, and you also do something that on your side also that they can't take your data. You always do the encryption. We'll see in the security aspect of the course.
Okay. And the other thing is, I know you mentioned the key pair. So those concepts will be discussed later part, or is it something we will be discussing later, or is that something we are going to discuss?
Key pair is not a real-time standard, by the way. Okay. So, I mean,
But
what is the username? I mean, what is the operating system you are using for your desktop purpose?
I think I'm not sure. Actually,
Your
no,
desktop. What is your desktop?
it's a Windows
So you log in with a key or username password?
with a pin.
Password kind of a thing. A PIN. It's another mode, right? So some other way of authentication, right? So for an example, have you worked in any company? You open email or something of the company.
Yeah.
Yeah. You enter username, password, or keys.
Username password.
So then the server also is the same concept. You use username and password. Okay. Now the next thing I'll tell, there's an extension conversation as well. So have you anytime tried to install some operating system, either Windows or Linux by any chance? No.
No.
Okay, that's okay. But whenever you install any operating system, the default authentication method is username and password only. Okay. Now the keys are something which is done externalized, additional setup which is done, but the raw of the thing is the username and password. Okay, that is the second point. Now the third point, by the way, now if it is a key, by the way, now if I take your key, now you logged your home, right? Now I have taken your key. Okay. So now that means I can open your home, correct? So the keys are risky. Okay, that means the same thing happens in the keys also. Now you are using keys means if someone actually copied your key without knowing, they can log into your server with your username and password. End of the day, you get the pink slip and he is happily enjoying. So which is so risky. Okay, any enterprise grade organization, okay, any mature person who is designing the systems will never allow the keys, by the way. And it has its own use case. I'm not denying that. That's fine. But I'm talking about pure mentality of the proper security. Okay, so the security is you always enter your username and password, and there's a concept of single sign-on. Okay, so that means I join an organization, my same username and password work with all n number of applications. plus
Yeah.
all number of n number of systems as well. I can't go for a separate thing for the systems. Okay, I will not use keys when I join. So I log into my company. I right from my laptop. I enter my laptop with my username and password. The same username and password I use it for my. Let's say there is a there's a timesheet application or there is an attendance application. Okay, there's a HR application, right? All these applications I'll use the same username and password, and I'll go to the server also. I'll use the same and username and password. Now, if you're leaving the organization or if any reason that I found that you need to be logged, by the way, so I lock your account in one centralized place, all the systems will get automatically, your account will get deactivated. Okay, you can't log in. So that is the essential advantage that you get it when you actually start using the right ways. And the user, see, I'm not talking anything inorganic here. What we are talking is organic because the system, when you install Linux machine, it comes with a username and password only. Okay.
Okay.
So we are using the right one. We're not actually using some plus kind of a customization, by the way, which we don't need it. Okay. So now you just imagine that you're in an enterprise organization. You just assume this is your username. This is your password. Assume that your username is something that is your username. That is your own set of password. Now, if it is a password, by the way, I can put a password compliance like saying that, every 45 days you need to rotate your password. All those things is possible. Okay. So if it is keys, by the way, so someone takes the keys is always a static key. And so if I need to change the key also, let's say 1,000 machines, 10,000 machines, by the way, so it is very challenge. You can't manage that. So that's where whoever talks enterprise, by the way, they don't talk about the keys. And Amazon has its own reasons why they started with the key, but it is not mandatory to go with the key, right? That you need to understand. They actually come up with the key as a default option, okay, of some other reason. At least we should know the reason why they are using it, right? So, but otherwise it is username and password. Yeah. Let's
The
stick to that.
same.
Not yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Sorry. This username password you shared, right? So is this something when I'm going to a new organization, how this work?
Your
The username.
username and password. You log in, you join a company. My name is Raghu. This company I log in, I'll get, let's say, Raghu@xyz.com. I go into another organization, I'll get Raghu@abc.com, right? Username and password of that organization you will use. So this EC2 user and DevOps 321 is a static content, a static username and password. Just imagine that is your real username and password of your actual company.
Okay.
That's it. That imagination you do, rest everything remains same.
Yeah, my last question. I know we took the practice image. So in real life, how does it work? So after
We'll
the
talk about later. We have an
later.
image. We have to build the image for project. We'll see.
Okay. Okay, sure. Got it. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Not able to hear you, Adil. Moving on.
Hi, Raghu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you just show me how to terminate the instance because I'm not getting any option of terminating.
So you can just select that machine, click on actions or instance state, sorry, and terminate the instance.
So the terminate and delete instance, right?
Yeah. Or else
So,
right click and terminate also.
fine. When we click on that, so the instance get delete.
Correct.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Hi Raghu.
Yes.
I am unable to create my account. See, I created account, but now it is saying an alert saying you have to upload your PAN card to complete your registration and you're no more free.
Do that. That's okay. It's a sign up, right? So whatever the terms and conditions you have to align if you want to use it.
I did it, but it is saying that your free account is now it is no more. It is a paid account you can use.
It's okay. That's fine. Just
Okay.
complete the sign up.
So I agree and choose confirm for signing a paid plan.
No good. When you're actually choosing a pay plan, by the way, so like I mentioned, you use the free plan in terms of support, by the way.
But it is showing me alert saying that you are not eligible for the free plan. Your information associated with the existing previously registered AWS account. Free plans are exclusive to customers new to AWS. So
I
maybe
I'm not sure. Today you try to join the lab session. You can see your screen. I can help you.
okay, fine.
Yeah.
1 o'clock, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Sandeep.
Yeah. Regarding email selection, why we have chosen the community? Like
Your
created
voice
one
is not clear, Sandeep.
is it like
Still say
now is it like,
no.
okay, I'm confused.
Hi, Raghu. Uh, do we need a key value pair for logging into SSH?
No need. Hello.
So the username and password you mentioned, is it like a constant or like it's a variable? I mean, we can change or like initially it is like a pre like a pre-populated like a uh, by the AWS.
So just again, I'm telling. So imagine that is your username. Your name is Nitin. Just your alias name is easy to user. You're entering that. That's it. That much only you understand. In a company, it is going to be a static username and password of your centralized account credentials. Okay. So that means you join a company, you get an email, you get a username and password. The same username and password you'll be using to authenticating to the server also. So that is your username and password. So here we can't
Oh,
simulate every company scenario. That's where we are just utilizing one username and password. That is your username and password. Just imagine that should be fine.
so for now, we need to create our username and password for
No need.
this.
No
No.
need. In company also, you'll not create a username and password for each and
Yeah,
every
yeah,
server.
yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, yeah.
Right? It's going to be centralized. Okay. Not able to hear you. No, not able to hear you. Okay. Not able to hear you, Rama, as well.
Hello. Yeah, Raghu, you're audible?
Yes, Pal.
Yeah. My doubt is, uh, yeah, as I'm a developer, I want to ask you,
Anything
uh,
related to the current topic, you can go. Otherwise,
yes, yes, yeah,
just go to the.
current topic only. Up to
Okay.
now, I'm at the Linux. How much I need for this Linux? Can I have this information?
That's what this is also out of context question. We'll talk at the ending. Let's
Okay,
stick to the topic for now.
okay. So the pin and companion of the pin and username and password is the excuse me, which is the secured one, and which will be the we will face max.
Username password is the right way of logging to the servers in enterprise organization.
Okay, obviously we will work on the enterprise only. So the companies will provide also username and password, right? Max.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Raghu.
So there are some extended things also will be there. So even someone want to take an extra caution also on the servers, they can integrate your single sign-on with some RSA tokens like OTPs and all. You can use Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator. So when you log in, actually, I think some of you, whoever works in the organization, so definitely you would have some authenticators as well as a two-factor authentication. Okay, so password is one-factor authentication, so they can still go ahead and okay, so RSA token with or Google Authenticator with SSH. Okay, you can see something like this in some organizations. Even they go beyond, by the way. So when you are actually logging in, so they will ask you the verification code like this, and after that, you'll ask for password, two-factor authentication. What we are talking is one-factor authentication, right? So some companies, they can go for two-factor authentication as well. I mean, like enterprise, it all depends upon the design, by the way. So yeah, it's okay, but yeah. So it's quite common. Well, when you're actually logging in with your other portals, the same username and password will be used on these systems as well. All right. Okay. So let's move on with the next things. Now, once we are authenticated, so we're ready to talk about some introduction to the operating system. Now you started getting the command line. First, let me log into the server. I will log in with this. And after this, so you're going to see some prompt like this, right? Now the prompt itself will tell you some information actually when you log in. Even I'm sure in Windows also, you open MS-DOS, something like that. It will tell you some basic information, MS-DOS prompt. Okay, at least I'm hoping. I'm not a Windows guy, but still, let's see here. So when you actually open a Windows prompt, so it is very old one. So something like this, okay? It will take to your home directory. Generally, you'll see like this, right? It will take to your home directory. It tells that you are a user of Deborah, it is telling, right? And the same way, like, whenever you log into the Linux with your username and password, it shows you some information. Okay, so yeah. And by the way, like I wanted to mention so many questions actually. This authentication, like, so the people generally get a lot of questions because I'm sure some of you already went through AWS, so some sign up somewhere, some creation somewhere, so the things are not properly given to you. Okay, so people are confused there. Okay, but generally you log into the server with the username and password, but actually wherever even mature people work, right, they talk about no sign on. Okay, so logging into the server itself is not needed. Okay, like wherever I work, let's say, I mean, we give absolutely zero access to the people. Okay, so to the at least to the application user, something like that. Okay, some administrators, okay, still will be there, so they just have a time-based access. Okay, time-based access, like so the tools like global use tools like Teleport, or even like Arcos. Okay, these are all. So there's a PIM, by the way. There is an area called as PIM, the Privileged Access Management. So these guys will help in, authenticating your system, some crucial systems, by the way, with a temporary access. So that means you can seek an access for, let's say, 1 hour, 10 minutes, okay, things like that. For a temporary purpose, you can do that. Okay, so these guys can control that. The tools like Teleport or Arcos, like at least 1 or 2 tools I know. I'm just listing. There are many, maybe. Okay, so these guys actually help you in securing your infrastructure much far better, okay, than the username and password. Now that means your username password also will not work actually. Okay, so that means to log into the server, your username password will not work. Okay, first you log into these portals like Arcos or Teleport. First you log in with your credentials. From there you click on it. Then there'll be some process. You can involve the process, like so you will be informed by your manager that I'm requesting the access. Okay, he can approve. Process will come. More process will come into picture. Why are you requesting the access? All these things will be there, right? So that's where you can get a time-based access. Okay, now even we go further also. This is the second phase you can consider. Okay, first phase, you just log in with a at least no local username and password, no security, right? The second thing is you standardize with a single sign-on. Okay, third thing is maybe two-factor authentication you do, and the next thing you do is a time-based access, because two-factor authentication and all, like you log in, you can't have a control of how much time you access the session, right? That even should go further. Okay, to have a time-based access like tools like Teleport or Archon, or even much more maturity is a zero security. Okay, zero trust, by the way, not zero security. Sorry, zero trust security, which no one will log into the system. Without logging into the system, so you still be able to manage, by the way, sitting outside also. Okay, you will run through automation pipelines. Those are the infrastructure practices that you are actually going to learn in this particular training. Okay, one day you'll see also, you will never log into any of the system. You will run something, so and everything comes up as expected. You will have zero login to the system as a user. So everything will be taken care by automation, and automation will do the authentication. Okay, so that's a different story. So we'll see. Okay, I just wanted to convey this point. I forget to mention. Okay, this is the phase of you have to look in the secure. Security is the most critical, because the moment you give the access to the command line, okay, to someone, it can be massively abused. Okay, so any person with a maturity, who have some maturity, in the sense not maturity, who have some smartness, by the way, so the logins can cause certain issues. Okay, so certain issues like, for an example, we use some, a very old practice, maybe today's world it may not be happening, but still some people, what they do is, if they are leaving the organization when the terms are not good, by the way, so some administrators, like database administrators or something like that, they'll go and schedule something on the server. Okay, so saying that, I am leaving the organization, let's say November 4th, on December 30th or sometime, like, when the big business is so huge or something. So they will try to schedule something. You will feel like that person left the organization. It's all going when 1 month, 2 months went fine. One day you will see that all the database is gone. Okay, these are all happened incidents, by the way, right? But if you don't allow to log into the server, that internal scheduling of the operating system would have never happened, right? So you need to avoid as much as possibility. Okay, so to log into the server, you can talk to any security person. Okay, go ahead and talk. So tell them that, there is a version, how much you do. There's a version I will allow the user to log into the server. I will allow the user not to log into the server, which is secure. Always the answer is not logging. So how much things you maintain. Okay, so that's where this authentication part is something, is a very different topic again. Okay, so maybe whenever we get some time, we can discuss about it again later. So I think every one of you got the context. So companies will use standard things. We're also following a nearest standard thing, which is username and password. It's not just a centralized Active Directory where I have created your company account. Just assume that EC2 user is your company account, you logged in. Okay, some other user will get some blah 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 user. Assume that. Okay. So stepping back to the topic again. So here is the one. So introduction to the command line. So when you actually log into the command line, so that prompt itself will tell you something. Okay, so here the username you logged in. So what is the username I logged in? So here EC2 as a user I logged in, right? And it will show you the IP address of this particular system. So it is the, sorry, my bad, host name of the system. This is the server name. Every server will have a name. Okay, so this is where it is. And also it is telling you the current working directory also. It tells you in which directory you're in, this prompt. This tilde symbol tells that you are in your home directory. Now, if you go to some other directory that says, it will show you in which path you are in. Okay, something, but don't worry about that command. But the prompt itself is telling you something. Now, what I have done is, okay, if you just go with a normal Linux box, a standard Linux box, which haven't done any customization. So this prompt is customized, by the way. I customize this prompt. Wherever I join the organization, the first thing I do is, if I'm setting up some project, by the way, for a server, I will set up the prompt. Okay, prompt according to the needs of that particular project, because it's very important, by the way. So I will tell you one thing, so which is, I'm not sure I can show something. Yeah, I can show by getting some other. So here I can get some Linux playground environment. Let me just log in. So just a very generalized one. Okay, so here and get the, okay, somewhere I'll click on this. Linux is here. So click on 20 scenarios, something. This is a learning, interactive learning portal. So this is the standard Linux portal you are getting. Okay, here this guy is giving Ubuntu, so that's where the prompt is not as standard. Okay, it is a Ubuntu prompt, but that's okay. Username at the rate that square brackets is not there, but he's still showing the tilde symbol. Now, let's say I'll go to the some directory. He's showing that path. Now, if I go to okay, here also this guy has customized it. Okay, let me just docker run e red hat slash ei9. Sure, I entered the right one, but don't worry about all these commands. I just wanted to take you to some basic machine where you can understand, or we can relate the things what we're talking. Okay, so now you are in the prompt of Red Hat. Now you see the same thing. So you logged in as some username at the rate, the system host name, and the symbol. Now what I'm talking about is, see, if I'm going to go to some location, it will show you this path only. It's not showing the full path. Okay, so now what I assume, okay, I'm trying to remove some file, I'll try to remove something. Now what I am assuming is I'm actually in /data/log, let's say, okay, let's say the same log folder can be there in some other place also. Okay, now you see this, I'm in which log, I don't know, I am assuming some other path. Then what I did is I try to remove some file. So now which I can cause some damage, by the way, because I'm assuming, okay, so because the information is not clear, that's where, what we do is, because we know the mistakes that what we have done, so learn from the mistakes. And what we generally do is, any senior persons will generally do this actually. So they customize this prompt. Now what I have done is I have customized the prompt in such a way that, okay, so you will get the full path actually whenever you log in. So let's say /var/log I'm giving not only the log information I provide, so I'm just giving the full path, by the way. So this is a little customized one. Okay, now I haven't stopped there. Okay, so this is all plain black and white screen. I enabled some colors as well. Okay, enabled some colors, and I haven't stopped even there as well. So because this is a lab session, or the servers which is for that. Now whenever you join the lab session, whenever you are facing some issue, we need to retrieve some information from you in order to help you better. So some of the information we look is the public IP address, so that even I can also log into the server immediately. Okay, and what is the type of the instance? Okay, so we'll talk about the types later anyhow. So what is the type of instance? Now based on the problem you are facing, based on the tool you are practicing, and based on the type you are using, we'll able to tell immediately what can be the problem also. Okay, so these all have some helpful information. There's also some Git repository as well, which will help you immediately. I can open your code and see that what is the mistake that you have done. So this is a little customized. This header line is not that important. Okay, but this is exclusively customized because you and me enabling the information is much faster, rather than I ask you everything. By the way, by seeing your screen, I can know something. I can immediately log in and see, like, what's going on in your system. Okay, can help you faster. Okay, so that is the only reason for that. So you can ignore this, but at least this, wherever I log in, this path is very important, because I myself has done some very horrible mistakes around the path of the run. Okay, so that is where, okay, I mean it is customizable. At least I'll customize this path part. Okay, and we do that, and you can do that. It's not a big deal. So there are PS1 builders online. Okay, so PS1 is shell or bash, you can say. So this is something bash prompt generator. Okay, you can generate all the colors, prompts, everything, like however the way you are looking for. So now here you're looking for directory, something working directory. You will, let's say you click on it. So you will get /w, but I'm giving something working directory base name. Okay, so there is a difference here. Okay, small w, capital W. So here in this guy, if I look in echo dollar PS1, don't worry about all this command. He's using capital W. That means he's using a small path. Okay, base name he's using. But whereas if I just go with echo one, this is all not needed. Don't worry too much around this for now. You will one day, by doing this, you will understand it. Okay, I'll give small w. So now you see this, you're in data log. So cd/var/ this much customization we had done. So which is going to help us actually. Okay, so that is the reason. Majorly we customize the prompts according to the needs, and I customize the prompt is the one. Okay, I haven't customized much also. This first line is something which is I customized more. And this is a very common thing. There's only the path part I just customized, just enable the colors, because rather than seeing the black and white screen, get bored and things like that. So colors makes life better. Okay, at least I can grab the things easily. Okay, so that's the only reason that we enable the color. Now coming back to here, so the prompt did denote something. So this is a default prompt. Okay, so username at the rate IP address, and your current working directory is the one which is going to tell. Now, since you got the prompt, you have been already observing I'm typing, entering, right? So what are those commands? Okay, now you want to create a file in Windows. What do? Go there, right click, and then new, click on, okay, so new file name, and you type the file name, right? So much clicks you have to do. Okay, so much energy you have to keep. But whereas here it is, you just type the command and enter, you're done. Okay, so that's where. So now the next thing is, what we're doing is executing the commands. So anything you want to do in Linux is a command. You have a commands there. Okay, so we'll be learning, like I already mentioned, some 30-40 commands you will learn in total in the training. And always whenever you need some information, you always have the internet available. Okay, so always, at least you should know what you need to enter. And today you have enough GPTs which can give you the information, right? So I think Linux, you can get a better information from there as well. All you need to know is at least you should know what to ask. Okay, your requirement, at least you need to give. That's where you can do. Now, any command you execute and you hit enter, it may or may not show the information. Okay, so you execute a command and you enter, by the way, the output shows some information about what it need to show. Okay, and even some of the commands may not show any information. So we need to understand the behavior of the command. Okay, so we need to understand the behavior of the command. All right, so which command gives the output, which commands doesn't give the output. Okay, so kind of a things you will understand. You will understand, it's not a big deal. First time it may be looking a little awkward, but yeah, so you'll get used to that. So 40-50 is not a big deal, right? So easily you can able to manage. So uname I typed, so I got some output. Whereas ls I type, I did not got anything. Okay, that means that information tells me something. Okay, I look for some files, there are no files. Okay, it would have given a good information saying that, so 0 files available. It's fine, but this command is actually not even showing that information. That means your understanding is you open a folder, it's an empty folder, you don't see any files. That itself is an information to you. Here also do the same thing, right? So that doesn't need to put a label saying that, Windows doesn't create a big banner saying that, there are no files, this folder is empty. I think doesn't need to matter, right? So the same thing applies here also. Like, so sometimes you don't get the output, you understand, okay, this happened, that doesn't happen. You will get used to that while practicing. Okay, so that's how the commands is. Now, the command you're not done yet because you have some options also. Okay, so the options will be like, hyphen single character, okay, hyphen single word, okay, or hyphen single word also you will see. Okay, hyphen single word also you will see. So this is anyhow combination, that's okay. You can combine the options. So here uname hyphen a is there, uname hyphen I is there. So it changes the option. So for an example, uname gives some information, that's okay. Uname. Now uname hyphen I will provide some other information. What is it? It's okay. It doesn't matter to us for now. But understand, you can provide the information. Okay, uname, you can give hyphen all you can give, or let's say hyphen a. No, uname hyphen L I'll give. No, L is not there. I don't know the options. So you have hyphen help is a general option that we provide. Here also it is written. So if you don't know any options, you can always look for help. Okay, it is telling these are all the options I have. So uname hyphen in I'm providing. Okay, so it is giving me some information, by the way. Right, I combine two options, hyphen I, hyphen n. You can combine the options also. Okay, or else even you can go for hyphen all hyphen a word also is actually possible. It all depends upon the command to command. You need to understand that command, what all the options it supports, then you should use them. All right. So based on the options, what happened? You're changing the behavior of the command, how to execute, what to execute. Okay. Now that's where the command is the last thing you do, but you should first know shift left, right? First you should know what to do. Okay. Then command you already know. You know or you don't know, that's fine. But first of all, very important thing, a lot of people just confuse here. Okay, so command, can't remember and things like that. Black and white screen, I don't like these all things. Rather than that, first thing you just see, I want this thing. Now, how does it matter whether you go and try to do a click and do that, or you type a command and get that? But first thing is that, right? So what do you want is very important. So across our training, okay, I'll focus on this particular point. What do you want is very important. That's where even my training is, so we flipped the project to the very starting of the training. So, so taking the concern that, while you're learning something, okay, why are you learning? Okay, there should be a question, right? Why I'm learning this? Okay, I'm learning 100 options, but why I'm learning this? Or okay, I am opening a tool. I know, so just top down theoretical, going on, like a movie, right? Never ending. Okay, so but what I am doing? So if you don't have that context, right, it's of no use. So that's where context. The more you gain the context, the simpler the solution will be, execution will be, right? So that is where, okay, so you will always go for understanding what you want and you execute a command. This is just a demo command. You name it, does something, doesn't matter. I just picked it up just to demo something. That's fine. But later commands is always about the context, is only the introduction. So the command can have a single hyphen character, hyphen single word. Okay, or some commands will have hyphen single word also. And some commands even support you to combine the options, hyphen I, hyphen N individually, or hyphen N combined. Both it will work. It all depends upon the command. You need to understand the command, and based on the command way, you have to proceed. For an example, I'm not sure if I have Java. Java, I don't have. If I have Java, I think, so you will see some, just one of the command, we'll see some options, which is, let's say, Java hyphen help if I search in the internet. So you will see all the options of the Java, which is hyphen jar, hyphen Java agent, hyphen module. It is having all the things. Okay, hyphen version. Some places they are using hyphen, some places they are using hyphen. Now which one to use and all is all about that command. Okay, so you understand the command and you. So that is the idea. And the last but not least for today, last thing for today is combining the commands as well. Okay, but don't worry about this at this point of time. But I wanted to give the context that you can combine the commands. There are 4 ways of that you run the commands combination. Here is only 3 things which is mentioned. 4th one come later. Even these also will explain this later, by the way. Okay, but you just understand whenever we have requirement of 2 commands, let's say. So now let's say uname and then semicolon ls. For what happens? First uname command will work, and after that ls command will get executed. So first uname commands get executed, and you have given semicolon and ls. So that means first command executed, after that second command is going to get executed. Okay, now there is no logical relation between them. Okay, which is if the first command is succeeded, you want to execute second command. So something like this. If first command is succeeded, you wanted to execute some second command. So that means uname should be executed. Previously, there is no logic involved. You execute first command, you execute second command. Because I'm just a lazy fellow, 10 commands, I want to put semicolon, something like that, and hit enter one time. So that one after another, it will execute. Okay, very simple. That's the only reason I picked it up. But now I'm putting a logic inside that. If my first command is successful, then only you'll go with the second command. Okay, enter. So now what happened? ls actually giving something, and after that uname is also giving something. Now what is the next one is let's say I'll use same uname otherwise something else. Now I wanted to give, let's say, /boot1, which is going to be marked as a failure because that directory doesn't exist. Now uname command output is not happened because my first command is failure, saying that there are no files and directory. It's a failure. Okay, and I wanted to go with the second command, but it is not happening. If first command is a failure, I wanted to go with the second command. Then that's where the double pipe symbol will come into picture. Okay, then first command is a failure, then the second command is actually getting executed. Now, you don't bother about these 2 commands options at this point of time. I want to keep this as an intro. Okay, anyhow, the 3rd week, we need to talk about little logics. That time we'll talk about this. Okay, so I'm just wanted to keep it. It is all the things possible so that we'll not miss out the things as a basics. But we will revisit this particular point, these 2 commands, logical and logical or, we call it up. We'll discuss with that later. Okay, so I think we just extended a little bit time. I'll take up the questions, but just to conclude, by the way, so what we have done today is created an account in AWS. I mean, before to the session, we logged into the server, and we know how to create. We know how to log into the server and all. Now I'm done with my work. So without without forgetting, I'll go and delete my instance. Okay, so that's what. So that I'm clean. So I'm not going to get any more billing while if I'm deleted. So I use for an hour, my charges will be for an hour. So something like that. Okay. So introduction to the command line is what we talked about. From tomorrow, we start the actual commands that what we wanted to learn, we will start learning. And I heard some questions like, you have some problems on the sign up and all. So we will update the lab session link in the same links section only. So you just join at timings also I'll mention there. Any time in between, you just log in and we can see your screen and we'll understand it. Okay. I think that's all. I think I have any questions to the current topic, or I hold some people for later questions. So if you have that, please go ahead. Raise your hand. I'll come to you one by one. Thank you. Feel free to drop if you don't have any questions as well. Bye. Good day.
Hi, will this document be shared with us? Because yesterday's session, we didn't get the document.
So are you using the portal to log in to the training?
Oh, no.
Okay. So just whoever shared the meeting link with you, just text him that I want a document link. Okay, you will get it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So the document link is not there. That AWS DevOps, which was showing in the session.
Oh, it should be there with it. Are you using the training portal?
Yes, yes.
It should be there. So just check below the session. There is a link of, list of links. Something is there.
No, it is not there. I have seen list of links. I have clicked. It's not there. It's got lesson under construction.
Okay, I'll take a look.